We'll create a pocket query next on Discover Geocaching. So you might be thinking, what exactly is a pocket query? Well, it's a collection of caches that you can customize and can download as a file. Now, it's a premium member-only feature, so you'll have to be a premium member to work with pocket queries. We're going to talk about two different ways to create a pocket query. One is just from the form that you fill out at the geocaching.com website, and the other one is creating a pocket query from the map. So let's go take a look. So here we are at the geocaching.com landing page, and let's take a look at what we need to do to create our pocket query. If you come over here to Play and you select Pocket Queries. Now remember, this is a premium member only feature. So you select Pocket Queries and it brings you to the Pocket Query main page. Let's create a new pocket query. Click on that button. And right away at the top, we can name our pocket query. What we're going to do today is we're going to find out which caches were published in my area in the last week, so we can see what new caches popped up. So I'm going to call these new caches. So in our next section, we have days to generate, and this is the days to generate the query. So I usually just do a one-time type query, but you may want to run a query certain times or certain days of a week more than once. And you can do that, and this is where you would do that. So what I usually do, since this is a one-time query, I find out what today's date is on the server, and I choose that day of the week to run my query. Then I come down here and I select Run this query once, then delete it. The next section is how many caches to look for. Now you can look for 1,000 caches in one pocket query. So 1,000 caches per query, and you can do 10 pocket queries a day. Tomorrow is a different day. You get 10 more pocket queries with 1,000 each. So you can do a lot of searching with this. The next section, we're going to select the types of caches we want. If you leave it as any type, then all the caches, the type of caches will be selected. So I'll just do traditional caches, multi-caches, and mystery caches. But you can choose whichever ones you want. Now let's select which containers we want to look for, whether they're small, large, or unknown. Let's just leave it in any container. All right, our next section is a little bit of logic. These are the types of things you can look for in your queries for caches, such as, are these caches available to all users? Or are they for members only? That's where you would check that. If you caches that are only on your watch list, that show up. Caches that are enabled. And if you can leave this all blank if you want to, you can also just come over here and say, I just want the caches that I haven't found. So, and this is where you put the difficulty and terrain ratings. You can come over here and say, I want to find caches that I haven't found and are the difficulty greater than or equal to 1 through 5, or where the terrain is greater than or equal to 1 through 5. You can also do, well, I'm only looking for 5 caches. You can go equal 5, equal to 5, and you will only get 5 caches that you haven't found with this query. So there are not too many 5 caches that are published, especially this past week, at least in my area. So we'll just uncheck those. There we are. Now everything greater than or equal to a 1, greater than equal to a 1 for the terrain will be selected. If you're going to go on vacation, you're going on vacation to Albania, and this will only check for those caches with this criteria in Albania. And we'll just do none selected. You can also do states, provinces. We'll just stick with none selected for now. Now this from origin is where is the center point of this query going to be based on. So you can put in a specific GC number and it'll use that GC number as the center point for the query. You can do a postal code. You can do by coordinates. Let's say you found specific coordinates, you're going on a hike and you know you want to look in this particular area and you have the coordinates. You can just come down here and punch in the coordinates. And I will just choose my home location. It already knows where your home location is. That's something you do when you set up your account. And so this is going to be from my home location. And here's the radius. So 100 miles is a bit much. So let's do 50 miles. And then right here, place during, we're going to select during the last week. And that will just get the caches that have been placed during the last week. If I would do none selected, it would go and use this criteria of caches that I haven't found, any type of container, a traditional multi-cache, mystery cache, and it would do for all time. But this one we're going to select the last week. So this section is where they're going to send the file to your email or in what format. So you have really the .loc format, the GPX format. The GPX format will give you so much more information than the LOC. So use GPX. And if you click this, it'll include the pocket query name in the download file name. If you're doing a lot of pocket queries, this is important because it'll put this name right here in the file name, and it'll be a lot easier for you to determine which pocket query is which. And that's it. We've gone through it all. Now we just click Submit Information. And this takes you to this screen that says, thanks, your pocket query has been saved. Now, right now, you can preview the search here. But what we're going to do is up here in the upper left-hand corner, we're going to click on the Pocket Queries main page, and that will get you back to this active Pocket Queries, and you notice that our new caches query is already there. But this is the tab we want back here, Pocket Queries ready for download. If you click on that, it shows that here's our new caches file that we just created. And if we click on new caches, it will ask you where you want to save this. So what we'll do is we'll go to downloads, and wherever you want to put this, you can just put it in your downloads. I think I have one for GSAC or Pocket Queries. So we'll just go into Pocket Queries. And this is where we're going to save our zip file that contains all the caches that we just used to search for. And you notice it has some random number, and then it has that helpful new caches. So just to make sure that we get the right file, I'll take off the number, and there we are. We have new caches. And you click Save. And now, down here, you notice that the new caches zip file, or the pocket query, has been saved. So that's how you create a pocket query from the Create New Pocket Query form on the website. Remember I said you can do the same thing using the map? Well, let's go figure out how to do that. So what we'll do is go up to Play, View Map, position the map where you want to search, and make sure that all the area you want to include is in the map, because it'll only look at the caches that are within the map. Let's go up to the upper left-hand corner and choose Filters. And I don't want all the cache types. You can choose whichever ones you want, but for this demonstration, we'll just click Traditional multi-cache, and mystery cache. I want to find caches that I haven't found. And if you notice that when I click not found down here, it says not found by, and it's me. The cache owner section, we can choose all caches that I own, caches that I don't own. We'll just select all. But this is where you would set your difficulty and terrain rating like we did earlier. I'll just leave it as getting everything from a 1 to a 5. All the cache sizes, you can notice that if I hit deselect, I can now come and say, oh, I just want regulars and larges or micros, but let's just choose all of them. If you wanted to find premium member only caches, you can do this. If you want basic only, or all of them. And the cache status. I don't want any caches that have been disabled. I only want the enabled caches. This section here is if you have corrected coordinates for caches. This would choose if you wanted your updated coordinates only or the original coordinates only. But for this purposes, we'll just leave it on all. And here we go, placed. We want not just any date, but we want just for the last week. So between, and I click on the start date of a week ago and click on the end date of today. So there's our week right there. And you could do by favorite points if you want to. You can select attributes. If you wanted to search, make sure that they were a certain attribute was selected, you could do that too. But that's all we need to do for now. So we are done, so we'll click done. And if you notice, the map drastically changes. I'm going to center this up a little bit. And these are, now you have only the caches that were published in the last week in my area. So what we'll do now is go to select all 12. And down at the bottom, we now have a button that says add 12 to a list. So we click on that, and we're going to create a new list, and we're going to call it new caches. We add this, and now we go to our lists, and what you do is you click on your caching name, and underneath your name here, you look at your lists. Here are all your lists, and here's our list we just created, new caches. You can do this two different ways. If you have your GPS connected right now, you could just, and it's a Garmin, you can click on these and send to Garmin, or you can download the GPX file. And we'll just click on download GPX. It asks you where do you want to put this. We'll put it right here. Since we already have one, I'll just call this one New Caches 2. And click Save. We've just created a Pocket Query two different ways. One by using the new Pocket Query form on the website, and the other one is going to the map page and creating a query from the map page. I thank you for sticking with it. It is a little bit of a lengthy video because there's a lot of steps involved. But if you notice that it's very, very simple, straightforward, and I hope you've had as much fun as I had, and don't forget to go out there and discover geocaching.